What is up, Sideways fam? We're back again today with another video, and we have our buddy Albert's S13 here. We already pulled apart some of the parts on this, but I'll give you a quick rundown of what's all been done and what's going on with this car right now. All right, guys, so check it out. This is one of our really close old drift car homies, S13 that we built him years and years and years ago. This is like, you know, probably at least 4 or 5 years ago. It's on AEM V1 on a 1JZ non-VVTi with a W58 transmission. It has a single turbo upgrade, but the gasket was blown out, so I already went ahead and removed all that stuff. So I'm kind of starting from ground zero. I would have liked to have converted the customer to AEM Infinity and done all the stuff the way that we wanted to do it, but for the fact that the customer is just very, very cheap and doesn't want to spend really $1 more than he has to, we're gonna go ahead and just, I guess, upgrade the things that he wants and get him back on the dyno and see what she does. So last time, I believe we got maybe 400 wheel out of the car on E85. It's stock cams, 6062 turbo. It was a factory intake manifold, you can see over there on the floor. And now we're gonna be going to the typical King's Royal intake manifold with, you know, one of our FMS 1200cc injectors. We have our AEG fan kit we got in here. So there's like a lot of room to work on the car in the front, you can see right here. And basically, I just got one of the old school do-it-yourself, you know, cut and extend the wiring harness and, you know, just sheath everything and make it look decent, you know, like everybody used to do back in the old days. Now, there was a major problem with this car, guys, that we're kind of all sketched out about. Now, he went with the old school SARD style side feed injectors that are right here on the floor. Well, these injectors are sold by China, and they're only about, let's just say 100, 200 bucks for a full set of drop-in. If you use them consistently, they are okay. They still fail though, and when they fail, they hydrolock. It just sprays complete fuel out of the injector, and it fills a whole cylinder up until it shuts your engine off. So it was kind of hit or miss with those a long time ago. But we kept enough in stock to where if it started to misfire at all, we could change them. And it was for a tracked vehicle, so we weren't really tripping back then. Well, now we don't do any of that. I don't sell that product anymore. It's a horrible product, and you should stay away from that by all means. So we are fixing that and upgrading that. The intake manifold could have stayed stock, but for the ease of just being able to get to everything and work on everything how we normally do, we're gonna have to put the powerhouse racing fitting in the pump and just get everything situated here. So that's gonna be super, super awesome. So, but the real major issue was this car is on pure E85. Well, the car has sat for about a year, only been started twice, and the car wouldn't start up and all kinds of other stuff, and the whole entire oil pan and engine was full of E85 to basically the brim. Came out like mocha, probably like freaking 12 quarts of freaking oil in the engine. So, I mean, I'm a little worried that when we go to start this thing and get it on the dyno and beat the hell out of it, it's gonna rod knock. But the customer doesn't wanna listen to pulling it apart and, you know, actually getting forward with what we need to do to get this thing done the proper way. So let's hope she holds together, I guess, guys. I've already fair warned the customer of the pros and cons of doing this, which is why I'm making this video for you guys. Hey, you know, 4 or 5 years ago when everybody was on the cheap drift car life, you know, that was an option. I no longer will ever provide that ever. I've never had an engine blow up. I've never had anything happen to where we've ever had to deal with anything like that. But I'm letting everybody know, do not buy, you know, cheap turbo kits, cheap injectors, you know, any of that weird stuff, you guys. Like, it's not worth saving the couple $100s. It's a very important part of your engine. Cheap wastegates, cheap everything, you know, like come on, guys, buy real parts, buy the good stuff, and don't have the problems. So let me go ahead and get this stuff together right now. We'll get the turbo kit back on today. We'll get the intake manifold set up, the fuel line set up, hopefully be able to get this thing started. I've already drained the oil, so we'll put some new oil in it, let her run for a bit, maybe even change the oil again before dyno. So let's get it. All right, guys, and just like that, injectors, intake manifold installed. So I got to dig with the wiring to get that underneath from there, intercooler piping, power steering. I want to show you guys these crush gaskets you get with these aftermarket manifolds. They don't last very long, guys. They blow out, and if you can even see, I mean, obviously it's blown out there, but if you can see, these little holes in between is where you get your exhaust leaks from. So unfortunately, I don't have the gaskets in stock. I'm only gonna have another one of these. But since I'm replacing this for free for my friend, he can't really complain. I do not like these. Spend the money, buy the OEM Toyota gaskets I've shown you in the other ones, but for the sake of getting this done and getting it on dyno, and that he doesn't want to go the full way of going Infinity and doing it all the right way to begin with, we're just going to go ahead and fix the leak to get him through dyno and get him back on the road. I also went ahead and upgraded my buddy right here to the Hypergate 45 from TurboSmart. This is the best wastegate you can possibly buy on the market, and I'm going to go ahead and upgrade him because these Chinese wastegates that you get with these China kits don't last very long. They end up getting stuck open and just totally fucking up your whole entire tune and everything else too. So let's go ahead and get this on right now, get the manifold in, and we'll get her started pretty soon. USA, and Albert's car's on the dyno. It's obnoxiously loud, so I'm going to save you guys a lot of time. We don't know if this thing's going to actually hold up because of all the E85 from the locked up injector that got from the oil. So I guess stay tuned. Let's hope that this car holds together. We're finally getting this car retuned on the V1 by a proper tuner with proper stuff getting done to it. So let's just stick with it. Let's see what happens. Let's get it. Alright guys, so we're experiencing a problem already on dyno with this janky 240, as we already knew it was going to be, because when you don't do things the right way and you just try to go around and keep doing things the wrong way like the old days, you're going to have problems like this. So I have customers all the time that sit there and tell me, oh yeah, you know, I'm setting my car up to make 600 horsepower, yada yada yada, and I'm like, oh okay, for sure, what's your guys' setup? They're like, oh, I got a 2JZ or 1JZ GTE, and I got this turbo and this manifold and this wastegate, and I got this computer, I got AM Infinity and a hypergate and yada yada yada, and it's stock cams, stock fuel lines, stock everything. I got a Walbro 450 for my fuel system, and instead of ID, you know, ID 2000s, ID 1000s, whatever they're gonna tell me for injector. Okay, well, first of all, the biggest problem you're ever going to battle on dyno, or battle in general, is going to be fuel pressure drop. So fuel pressure drop is when the engine is demanding more fuel than you can give the engine. So what happens is the pressure will drop based on the amount of boost that you're adding. So for every pound of boost, rule of thumb is every pound of boost, you need a pound of fuel pressure. So if I'm going at, let's just say 60 base, which is kind of high for a JZ, but let's just say 60 base, and you're gonna run 20 PSI. Well, we have to get to 80 pounds of fuel pressure at full throttle in order to have that be working properly. If we can have more fuel pressure than needed, great. You know, I mean, yes, you can drive the injector to compensate for fuel pressure drop, but that's not the correct way of tuning. That is the improper way of tuning, and that's not the way that we do it over here. So when people tell me, you know, there's it's on stock fuel lines, I just laugh and say, okay, well, have fun with that, because you'll maybe hit 400 horsepower on the dyno, and then you're gonna have problems. Maybe 500 horsepower, you guys, just for the hell of it, because I've done it before too. But you will battle with fuel pressure drop, and you'll have to stop, either get off the dyno or fix the problem on the dyno and pay your mechanic a bunch of money. So right now, this is the problem that we're having with the S chassis, is we're on factory fuel lines, one Walbro 450 fuel pump with, you know, E85 rated hose, and that's fine for a drift car that's going for 400 horsepower or whatever. I think at this point with this vehicle, we're having a problem. So the car was ran very, very low on fuel. The car hasn't been ran very much. The car's been left on pure E85. It's been like a year or two of the car just sitting on this kind of stuff. I mean, it's very likely that the fuel pump is just bad. So before I do anything, I'm gonna go ahead and change the fuel pump. I'm gonna put a new Walbro 450 in the tank, and we're gonna go ahead and do more pulls again. Now, sorry about filming, like, not so much on this car, guys. Really, I just don't like putting back-to-back-to-back video of us setting up drivability. This car's on V1 with a janky backyard harness and, you know, a bunch of stuff that personally I wouldn't use for my car, and unless if, like, I was willing to sacrifice my engine and know that, like, it's probably gonna blow up, you know, at any of the next 5 drift events that I go to, because I have no sense of I guess I have no sense of thinking ahead, and also no sense of, like, caring about fail-safes and why we put those in place. Fail-safes are put in place, you guys, so that you can protect your investment, so that you can go ahead and drive your car however fucking hard you want and don't need to worry about it blowing up, because if the oil temp peaks out, ECU cuts. Water temp peaks out, ECU cuts. Oil pressure drops, ECU cuts. And usually it's early enough to where you can save it. I'm gonna go ahead and get back right now. I already got the parts in the back of the car, so I'm driving back to Pepsi right now, and I guess let's just see how it goes. Okay guys, so we just changed the fuel pump right now. We're gonna go ahead and watch the fuel pressure and see if it drops. It's going to 60 at idle, and then dropping down to about 40 at full throttle. So let's see if the pump just fixed it right now. So we've now ran a fuel line all the way from the tank to see if we're having a fuel clog problem in the fuel line. So we went ahead and pulled the fuel line out that we had running there, and we put it back to the OEM line. Got the old pump right there that came out of it, and we're gonna test right now because we just did a pull with the air motive regulator instead of the one that he had on it originally, and it pulled a red line. So we're gonna try it again right now, see what it does, because this one's actually holding. What can I say, guys? It's been a hell of a day, and right now I've already gone ahead and gone under the car, got in the car back off the dyno, changed the whole entire fuel line from the tank to the engine, went ahead and changed the fuel pressure regulator and the fuel pump all as one. We did test all this stuff out of the car, so we're hoping that right now we're going to be good to go. We can go ahead and finish up getting everything redone and getting back on dyno and getting this part on the day. So let's see what happens, and let's get it. All right, guys, this is pretty much going to end the video on fuel pressure drop. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and go through this real quick with you guys because I feel like I need to kind of make this video kind of make sense. So while starting this video off, I went ahead and just went with the intention that, you know, we were going to be doing basically, you know, another dyno day, showing off another S13 with a simple setup. But in the case of this car, we ran into a lot of problems. So I'm not going to go ahead and show off the numbers. I mean, the car didn't do great, honestly. I think we did just about 400 horsepower, like 390 or something like that horsepower at, I don't even remember what the PSI was. We actually ended up leaving that night because of how frustrated we were. So how it ended up all happening was this video is going to be about fuel pressure drop and showing you guys what the battle is of fuel pressure drop for your vehicles, which, like I said, is the engine is demanding fuel because you're giving it boost. So if you look at it as opposites, so I mean, if the engine was NA, you'd have vacuum, right? But when you have boost, you're gonna have to have the fuel pressure rise for the boost to be able to rise as well. And yes, you can still make the boost rise, but not safely. It has to be done safely, and that's one of the biggest things that I like to make sure with our customers, that we give them what they pay for and make sure that it's safe so it doesn't just blow through the floor, which is why a lot of the older standalones like V1, like Power FC, like, you know, any of the older, like even the old Haltech systems and stuff to Adaptronic, there's no way of you monitoring everything or being able to set fail-safes into you know, play to where it will save your engine. So getting into ending this and not dragging on any more about this, we ended up, if you didn't already see in the video, I had to replace the fuel pump, just to run down the whole entire list and basically diagnose the fuel pressure problem on the dyno, guys. Talk about ridiculous. So I'm gonna let you guys know right now, right out the hole, any build you're doing, run brand new fuel lines, run a brand new fuel pump. Make sure that you boost the pump as well so it can get proper voltage. Make sure you're running a main brand fuel pressure regulator with a proper gauge or with, you know, fuel pressure monitoring or whatever that's going to be working, and, you know, all of the correct stuff to be able to get it done. Don't run a shitty injector. You cannot leave your car sitting on E85 with factory lines, because for all you know, the line is imploded on the inside of the line. You're never going to know. So what you have to do, what you need to do, is set yourself up for greatness and make sure that you're going to have a product that is going to perform flawlessly every day, you know, through in and throughout. So I know this video was about Albert's car and about getting Albert's car done and yada 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 and showing the upgrades, but this video really was more about if you guys cared to watch the whole entire thing, which is learning how running the wrong things will lead to major catastrophic failure, which ends up blowing your engine up. Or maybe you're lucky enough to where somebody like me or any of my team catches it to where we can at least redirect the problem to no longer be a problem anymore. And I mean, that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. The car wasn't tuned properly to begin with originally, by somebody who tunes drift cars or who tunes JZ cars for that, you know, for that sense. So I mean, that was a big wear point on the engine, because the car did make more power last time, and then obviously we had another problem with intake air temperatures skyrocketing, but we'll get into that on another video because I don't really want to get into that right now. But basically, everything on this whole entire crap box car was beat up. So I'm going to let this be a testament to all of you guys of showing you guys that, hey, running PTEFE fuel lines, you know, running from the tank all the way to the engine, running a 10 micron fuel filter, running a proper injector, and at least a Wellbro 450 E85 rated fuel pump will get you guys the numbers that you guys want, and you'll be able to do it day in and day out the right way. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.